Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Zaku News here on the USA Gundam TV channel. If you haven't watched it yet, I just posted an updates video over on my channel where I talked about a couple of different ongoing contests, so make sure you check that out. Thank you to all of you who are participating in the notching contest that I'm running on my channel, along with USA Gundam Store, of course. We're all really looking forward to the builds that you guys are working on for your custom Nachin tanks. But today we're going to be talking about the news. It's February 10th today, and last week we had a bunch of different news. Bandai dropped another huge news bomb on us with just a ton of different stuff, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about this week. And so let's get right into it with some different figure stuff. First thing is a premium Bandai metal robot Damashii Guan Yu Gundam real type version. So this is another one of those where it was like one of those SD designs they're turning into like a full scale design here, but this one is a little bit different. So this one is, they're gonna have like a lottery sales for this between February 7th and March 22nd in Japan. They're able to get like lottery tickets for this to be able to win one of these, and then the winners are going to be selected on March 25th. But the kit, the figure itself is going to be for 14,000 yen. So it's pretty cool that you can actually just like win one. I don't know, I haven't seen them posting online, at least as far as I've seen, how many there are going to be given away with the lottery, whether it's like 100, 200, 1,000, something like that. But I would imagine most of you guys are not living in Japan and probably don't have access to that lottery anyway, so it's probably not going to be too much of a concern for you. But just thought that was an interesting point about the release of this that I thought I would include for any of you guys who maybe are living in Japan or are going to be traveling to Japan around that time. I'm not sure if you're able to enter if you're not living there, if you don't have a permanent address in Japan, because I'm sure they're not going to do international shipping for that if you win one, but it's something to look into anyway. Anyway, we also have the Robot Damashii Dom Tropen version anime. So the version anime line is still chugging along with the Dom Tropen here, and it looks really cool. Of course, as usual, it comes with an array of weapons and effect parts and things like that for this. This one's coming out in June for 7,500 yen. And this is obviously the purple space type version of that. I would say it's probably a good guess that they will release the desert type, the sand colored version one of that, probably at some point down the line as well. For now, it's just that version. Then we also have the third wave of the Gundam Universe figures. So this line is, they're just a kind of standard price, 2,500 yen each for these, around $25. This wave 3 is coming out in June, and it is including the Wing Zero EW, the EZ8, and the Strike Gundam. So once again, they're just kind of continuing along like the line so far is just like the most popular main Gundam designs pretty much, and that's just continuing here, especially the most popular in the West. Like a lot of the stuff that was especially popular in the West, this line of figures does seem to be more targeted towards Western customers in the West, customers outside of Japan. But they're for sale in Japan as well too, of course. So those coming out do look pretty nice as well. Then we have here, getting into the Gunpla, and MG Zaku 2, but this is a special version, the Luna C's 30th anniversary Ecopla version of this. So it's a bit confusing because Luna C is the 30th anniversary of Luna C, which I guess is a band in Japan who is doing this special song for the Gunpla 40th anniversary. So it's the 40th anniversary of Gunpla, the 30th anniversary of Luna C. And so this kit is also going to be packaged with a CD. So that's the CD for the Beyond. It's a special song commemorating the Gunpla 40th anniversary. And the kit itself is basically just an Ecopla version of the Char's Zaku 2 Master Grade 2.0 kit. So it's just all in black. It's just how the Ecopla kits are always done. And it's just, they're just made of recycled plastic. So I don't know what really that means too much as far as the stability of the plastic or anything like that, but as far as I've heard, they're pretty much just exactly the same. They're just all in black. So that Ecopla version of the Zaku 2 is out in April for 6,000 yen, so obviously going to be a little bit more expensive just because of the fact that it's a special version and it's got the CD packaged in with that as well. So CDs in Japan tend to be pretty expensive. All right, and then some other different kind of special version stuff here we have from Japan's Football League limited Gunpla releases here. This is football as in soccer, as we know it in the US anyway. So they did all the special baseball themed, all the different Gundam releases based on the Japan Baseball League teams. And now they're doing that with soccer here as well. There's a special version of the RX-78-2, the HGUC RX-78-2 Gundam J-League version for 2,000 yen. And then they're also doing a special Haropla. This is the Haropla J-League version for 600 yen. So it's basically just some different colors and markings for these. So you'll have some different stickers for those just to mark it up for the J-League. And then those are going to be available just at the different events there in Japan. at the soccer games and things like that. And then each team also has a specific version as well. So I'll give you a look through all of the different versions here from the different teams. And so they're basically just different versions of different kits, which is interesting. They're not all of the ARC 782. They're all of different versions of like the 00. It's a couple different versions of like the Barbatos and a couple different things there. You guys will see here. They're different color versions of a couple of different kits, HG kits. And then they have, of course, the special markings, stickers for those to mark them up for the different soccer teams there from Japan. So pretty cool if that's something you're into. It's something else to collect if you're into collecting limited edition stuff like that. So those are pretty interesting. Then we have a few new Gundam-based limited things coming out. We have the real grade New Gundam Titanium finish out for 8,500 yen. Of course, pretty expensive being a titanium finish kit. But it looks pretty cool. It's very shiny, of course, this version of the RG New Gundam. And from what I remember, it did have a good amount of undergating on this kit, so it should look pretty alright. Pretty minimal num marks on that, I would imagine, as that's something you typically do need to worry about for any titanium finish or special finish kits. This one shouldn't be too bad. And then the Gundam-based limited system weapons line is continuing. So it's just basically the re-release of the different system weapons kits now being re-released as just Gundam-based exclusives. So we have System Weapon 05 and 06 are also coming out for 800 yen each. And so those will be out this month there at the Gundam base in Japan. So if you're able to get there to the Gundam base, or if you know someone who's going, or if you can get them just through a proxy seller online, you can get some of those system weapons now. And they're pretty cool. Set 5 and 6 are definitely two of the better ones, definitely. So I'm going to try to get my hands on some of those, especially the Zaku weapons ones. That's pretty nice. All right, and then we did have a couple of P-Bandai releases, and then a couple of P-Bandai releases that we have some new images for that I'll share with you guys. So first off, the new announcements here were the P-Bandai Master Grade Gundam Death Scythe EW Rosette, and this one is coming out in April for 4,500 yen. Basically what it is, it's the Death Scythe, and then it has the backpack, which is sort of like the wings of the Wing Gundam EW, or the Wing Gundam Verka, I should say. It's sort of like a version of that, sort of like simplified, a little bit different, slightly different version of those wings. So it's a very interesting version of the Death Scythe here. I'm not sure if I haven't decided if this is going to be something that I'm going to want to review or not and build here for my channel anyway. But it's pretty cool. It's an interesting look. I never really thought, the Death Scythe with those particular wings on it, but it's an interesting look, I think. The other thing is also Gundam Wing related, is the P-Bandai RG Tallgeese in TV colors. So it's just going to be a slightly different colored version of the RG Tallgeese. And this one is also out in June for 2,500 yen. So it's pretty cool if you're a big Tallgeese fan, or especially if you're a big Wing fan and you like the TV colors versions of this stuff. It's pretty cool they're coming out with that, I suppose, but it's a good kit to be coming out as P-Bandai because it's not really anything different about the kit itself. It's just the colors and markings basically going to be a little bit different for that. Then a couple things. Here we have some new images for the P-Bandai HG After Colony Geminas 01. This one's out in May for 2,000 yen. We've talked about this before. We got a bunch of new images for this. We can see that in some greater detail now. You can also have a look at a comparison image here between the original 1/44 scale kit and the new HG kit that's coming out. You can see the proportions are definitely much better. I'm still not super into the quite large head that this particular kit has. The head looks I wish the head was not quite so big. I know just the design of the head is very kind of big and just in its design, but I wish they would have just scaled it down a little bit for me personally. But anyway, on the P-Bandai pre-order page for that, they also had an image showing that with the Geminas 02, which is not currently set to be coming out, but just because it's pictured there, it's pretty fair to assume that the Geminas 02 is also going to be coming out as well, probably, of course, as a P-Bandai kit. And I imagine probably it's going to be the case that if they do make more in the G-Unit line of HG kits, that none of them are going to be standard release. It's going to be like Advance of Zeta, how all the new Advance of Zeta stuff coming out is all P-Bandai. I would imagine all of the G-Unit stuff that's going to be coming out, if they do make anything more than just the Geminas, that's also going to be all P-Bandai. But if you did want to pick up some of the older kits, all the older kits are getting re-released in April. So Bandai's doing another run of those, which they haven't for a few years, as far as I know. It's been a couple years. So those are pretty hard to come by these days, but you will be able to get your hands on those soon enough at just a good price. So if you wanted to pick up any of the older G Unit kits, you'll be able to get those. And then the P-Bandai HGUC Gundam Unit 4, or the G04, is out in May for 2,200 yen. This one as well, we knew about this previously, but we got a bunch of new images of this. You can see it in more detail now. You can see it does have some pretty nasty seam lines on some of the weapons. You can see very clearly in these photos. Not too surprising because it's an HG kit, but it does still look really cool. I'm looking forward to that. The Master Grade, despite being pretty old, I think still stands up pretty well. But this HG is definitely going to have a much better, just I think, stability in its posing and articulation and everything, of course, to being a modern HG kit. So that will be really awesome. Still no word about the Gundam 05, but I assume it's just a matter of time before we get an announcement about that one as well. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the P-Bandai stuff. Not really a whole lot. We have a bunch of new stuff coming out, though. Starting off with the next real grade is going to be the real grade Ava 00, or the Ava Unit Zero. It's going to be coming out in June for 5,000 yen, and like with the Ava 01, there's going to be two different options for that. There's going to be just the regular one, which is just the main Ava and its accessories, and then there's going to be a kind of more expensive version of that, which comes with like a bigger special accessory. In this case is the sniper rifle. So the sniper rifle set is going to be coming out for around 7,000 yen for that one, which obviously comes with a big giant sniper rifle thing that is included there with that. So really cool accessory with that. I really like that. I'm really looking forward to these RG Eva kits. They look really awesome. This one as well as Unit 1. And so we just have to wonder, is Unit 02 also going to be a standard release, or are they going to go the P-Bandai route with that one? I don't know. With Asuka being a big fan favorite there in Japan, I think Bandai could go the P-Bandai route with that, and they know that people will buy it up. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. With Unit 0 also coming out, honestly, I'm pretty surprised. I would have guessed that they would have made 01, 02 as standard releases, and Unit 0 as just a P-Bandai kit. That would have been my guess. But if the Unit 0 is a standard release, then I think it's probably fair to assume that Unit 2 will probably also be a standard release, and maybe they won't do any P-Bandai releases with the Ava stuff. I'm not too sure about this, and so it's just a kind of a theory, but maybe it's also just due to the licensing, of the Ava stuff, that they can't release any P-Bandai stuff that is Evangelion related, at least for the kits. I don't know about that. I don't know. If you guys know anything more about that, let me know, but maybe they can't release any P-Bandai RG Ava stuff because of their licensing agreement. It's possible. Anyway, getting into the HG stuff then. HGUC RX-782 Gundam Beyond the Global version is coming out in June for 2,000 yen. This one we saw that kind of teaser image for this before, and it was pretty easy to theorize that this was an actual kit that they were going to do, and it turns out that yes, it is an actual kit that they're coming out with, another version of the HGUC Gundam RX-782 Gundam. So some people may not really be too into that, with it just being another version of the Granddaddy Gundam, but me personally, I think the kit looks great, so I'm really excited for this. They're kind of going in a similar route to the G40 in that they're making it super articulated, but not in the same way as the G40. All the super articulation of this one is all done in a different way. So they must have invested a ton into the development of the G40, and then also invested a bunch into the development of this Beyond Global version as well, which makes sense because they needed like something special for the Gunpla 40th anniversary. Personally, kind of would have preferred if they would have gone with like a perfect grade 2.0 version of the RX-782 Gundam, but this kit does also look very good, so I'm looking forward to this. I think this will be really cool. And as I mentioned in my live stream earlier today, what I think will be really cool, what I'm looking forward to doing personally, is taking the G40, the Origin version of the HG Gundam, and then the new Beyond Global version of the HG Gundam, and painting them each in a different custom color scheme. So the G40 I did in the G3 colors, the Origin version, say, for example, doing that in the real type colors, and the Beyond Global doing that, like, for example, in the prototype colors or the rollout colors, something like that. So doing each version of that kit in a different color and like having them as a set, I think that would be pretty cool. So that's what I'm planning or thinking to do with mine, but I'm really looking forward to this kit anyway. Next, we have the HGUC Messer coming out from the upcoming Hathaway's Flash, or I guess as they're calling it, just Mosu Gundam Hathaway, the English version. For some reason they got rid of the Flash part, but anyway, the Messer is a very cool design here. Obviously going to be the enemy mobile suit, coming out in June for 2,500 yen. It looks very bulky, very chunky, but also the articulation of this looks like, the engineering looks really cool, and that's one thing that Bandai seems to be doing in the past month or so. Like, starting from this year, I guess, they're really pushing in their promotional photos. They're pushing a lot of photos showing the articulation or showing like the engineering that goes into the kit. So usually like before a kit comes out, we get a series of promotional images showing different poses and things like that, of course showing all the weapons. But we've seen more and more recently showing these images where it's like a cross section of the kit showing the actual articulation or the engineering that goes into the articulation of the kits. So I think that's a cool decision on their part. It's cool to see that before the kit comes out. You can really see like the engineering that's going into the parts, which is cool to see. So I'm glad they're doing that, and you have that again with this kit as for an example as well. Next, into the HD Build Divers ReRise, which we have a ton of stuff coming out from that series now. We have the Hwadam Pod, finally! I'm super excited for this. Being a big fan of Turn A, I'm a big fan of the Hwadam, and so this version of that does look pretty cool. It looks pretty similar to, you know, the original Hwadam from Turn A. It's not really too different from that, actually. The color is obviously going to be very different, but other than that, it doesn't look too entirely different from what the original design of the Hwadam looked like anyway. So this one is coming out in June for 2,300 yen, and I'm really excited. I'm wondering what the size of this is going to be, because the Hwadam, I think, as far as I know, is supposed to be a little bit larger than like your average Gundam. So I'm wondering if this is going to be larger, or if they're just going to have it like kind of about the general height of a standard Gundam there. But it's such a cool, unique design. I'm really looking forward to that. That one's going to be a really awesome release. So I'm looking forward to that one coming out in June. And then we have the HD Build Divers ReRise Gundam Tri-Age Magnum. So this is obviously a version of the Age 2 Magnum, sort of, based off that. But this one, once again, has a much more chunkier, more bulky design, which I think looks really good in here. So this one's out in June as well for 2,000 yen. And this one as well, looking forward to that, because the Age 2 Magnum was a cool design. But I like this new kind of much beefy, bulky version of that. It looks really cool. So that one should be good. But we don't really have a whole lot in terms of images for that yet. So we'll have to wait and see what else we see in the future for that kit. But at least for the time being, it looks really cool. Then for the lead Gundam, of course, we have the next version of that, the HD Build Divers ReRise Uraven Gundam, coming out in May for 1,600 yen. And this one as well, a little bit more of a chunkier design. This design, for some reason, reminds me of the Age Full Glanza. Was it Age 1, Age 1 normal, Age 2? Full Glanza, anyway, that kit. Anyway, just the general color scheme, and then the things on its back look kind of similar to the things that were all like on the forearms of the Glanza, but just based on the images that we've seen of this so far, it looks like those are maybe, we can't really tell, at least in the images we've got here so far, but it looks like those are maybe going to be some sort of funnels or something, possibly. But anyway, once again, I like the chunkier design for this. I think it looks pretty cool. That big shield thing that it's got, and you can use that with the core Gundam there as well, also looks really cool. So I think this one is going to be another really awesome addition to the line of the Earth 3 and the different versions we've got of that. It's a slightly different design as well, just like the face. The head, the chest is going to be a little bit different for this one as well. And so I got to hand it to the designers of the Build Divers ReRise. I think they're definitely doing a lot better job with the kits, the designs and the kits releasing for this series than like the past series. So the kits so far have been pretty good overall. We do have another planet weapon system here. This is the HD Build Divers ReRise new planet system weapons drill. This is just a tentative name for this. It's just this new set of weapons for this. It's just coming out in May for 600 yen, which is basically like a big pincer weapon and a big drill weapon, which you can combine them into one big kind of like weapon thing, or you can connect them onto its backpack. You can do a couple different things with that using these weapons, but that one is relatively simple, just sort of like a melee weapon, and kind of meant to be used, it seems like, with this one here. Also, the Build Divers ReRise Hiroto's exterior armor. This is, again, just a tentative name for this set, and it's kind of meant to go with the drill. So you can get this armor set in May as well for 800 yen. You can get this, and then buy the drill set kind of separately and combine them into making this it's sort of like the ground type version of the Gundam here, sort of, just being this kind of very chunky armored design with these melee weapons on it, so it's kind of meant for ground combat, I guess, sort of melee combat. So that's a pretty interesting look for that one, but again, we don't have a whole lot of images for that quite yet, so we'll have to see once that gets closer to its release date in May. Probably next month we'll probably see some more about that. Then for the Enemy Gundam as well, we have some new stuff coming out for the Enemy Gundam, which we saw, I think last time we took a look at the new kind of release information for the Enemy Gundam, which is going to be similar to using the core Gundam and like that. You can switch the armor parts between them and all of that. But here we have the HG Build Divers ReRise Enemy Gundam Armor System. Again, this is all just tentative names for this stuff. They don't have the actual names announced for these yet, but this one's out in June for 8,500 yen for this. And as you can see, it's very much based off of the new Gundam, the design. So it's basically sort of meant to be like a Enemy Gundam version of like the Build Divers version of like the new Gundam, sort of in a way. So you can see there's definitely some design cues based off that. And then that is very much true here with this weapon set as well. The HG Build Divers ReRise Enemy Gundam Fin Funnel type equipment. Again, just tentative name for that. Also out in June. So you can get the enemy armor and the enemy equipment here, which is the fin funnels and rifle parts as well, to make it into like a alternate version of the new Gundam, sort of looking like the new Gundam there with the fin funnels and everything. So you're getting both sets, the armor set 850 yen, the weapon set 700 yen, so it's going to cost you around 15 bucks, 20 bucks maximum should be for just getting the different sets to turn your enemy core Gundam into this new Gundam type. So you'll have to do some armor swapping, kit bashing sort of with that, but it does look like you'll have some pretty cool options with those. And then the last couple of things, a couple of SD things from Build Divers ReRise, SD Build Divers ReRise. We have the X Valkylander coming out in June for 1,300 yen. We only really have just one image of this so far, and it's not really to my personal taste, but a lot of people did say that the original kit was actually quite good if you're into that sort of stuff. So if you're into that sort of stuff, the new version of that is coming out in June. But again, we don't really have much to go off of quite yet. But we do also have out in June the next SD Cross Silhouette Gundam, which is going to be the Cross Silhouette Phoenix Gundam, coming out in June for 1,400 yen. So this one's a pretty odd choice. I'm not really sure where this one came from, but the Phoenix is a pretty obscure Gundam. I don't even remember what it's from originally, but as we know, we have the Fenix version of the Unicorn. This is the Phoenix Gundam, which was a thing before the Phoenix Unicorn Gundam came out. So this has been around for a while, but yeah, it's very obscure design, but it's coming out in the SD Cross Silhouette line, and it looks pretty cool, actually. It looks like it's going to be a pretty cool kit. It's got a transforming gimmick there in it, and it has a pretty unique rifle design there as well, so it's going to be an interesting release. And then the last few things that I want to talk about here are stuff that are not new, but we have some more new images for these. Here, the Master Grade Curios Gundam, we've got new images of this. That's out in May, and everyone's looking forward to this one, of course. It's going to be an awesome kit that's coming out for 5,000 yen. We got new images of the transformation, of their weapons. It is coming with the missile pod, which you can use with that as well. And of course, the shield has the whole claw pincer gimmick in there, all that. So it looks like it's going to be great. The colors, the details, everything on it looks awesome. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be a really great kit. Also, the HG CE Infinite Justice Gundam, we got a bunch of new images of this one here as well, so you can get a good look around that, front and back. And we got to look at the weapons for this as well. The shield with the claw that comes out of the shield, and it has the beam effect part for the shield and all of that as well. The part of the shield that comes out has the throwing melee weapon in there as well, with the beam effect part for that. This one's out in May for 2,200 yen, so that one is looking pretty cool as well. And then also the Jet Windam, the HGC Jet Windam, is out in May as well for 1,400 yen. Very cheap for this, but this one is very clearly, now that we have more images of this, and especially images showing off the engineering of the joints and stuff, you can tell that this is very clearly a continuation of Bandai's series of alternate universe grunt releases after like the Leo, the Magonak, and the Death Army. The next one here is the Jet Windam. So you can see the way that especially the joints go together are very similar to the HG Leo. Obviously this design is much more, there's a lot more going on with this design. The Leo is very simple. This one has the whole big backpack and everything. It has the big bulky shoulders and big bulky legs and everything. And very cool. I really like this, a lot of different aspects of this. So I think this is going to be a really cool kit that I'm actually quite looking forward to. And if someone told me, hey, Bandai's making an HG Jet Windam next year, I would have said, huh? What? That's the design that I didn't even really remember from Seed Destiny. I've seen Seed Destiny ages ago, but it just wasn't a design that ever stuck with me. But now that it's coming out and we've seen that it looks like it's going to be a pretty cool kit and it looks pretty nice, I'm looking forward to it actually. So that one should be cool. And the last couple things here, just to share, we have out this month, we have the FAS coming out later this week, at the end of this week. And then the end of the month, we have the PG Perfect Strike Gundam. So we have the box art for these. Just wanted to show you guys this really briefly. The box art for the FAS Verka, of course, looks amazing. That's going to be a big box, probably like the size of like the Thunderbolt Zaku Verka, I would imagine. Similar size to that, a very big box, and it looks awesome. And then the Perfect Strike Gundam as well, really cool box art for that. So that one I'm also looking forward to. The Strike Gundam PG was a really solid kit, it's a really great PG kit, but now with all the new details added on that, new slight differences to some of the proportions as well, that one's looking great. And then of course all the PGs, all the Perfect Strike parts for that, the sword pack, the launcher pack, and just everything on that. It's going to be a massive kit. That one also should be a pretty big box. So these new images, including the box art that we've got for these, got me feeling pretty excited, and this is going to be a very busy month. Aside from those two massive kits to build and review, I've got a bunch of other stuff that I'm working on, works in progress, and other just things that I'm just building for reviews for you guys. So a lot of stuff to stay tuned for this month. And so if you guys want to check out all of that, of course, it's all over on my channel, Zaku. But that's going to be it for the news for this week, so thank you guys all for tuning in. I'll check back with you again in 2 weeks for going over the next round of news, whatever comes out in the next 2 weeks. I imagine probably not a whole lot, because we just got a whole bunch of stuff dumped on us. We'll maybe get some new images of some of this stuff maybe out over the course of the next couple weeks, but for the time being, we've got plenty to look forward to for the first half of this year, so I'm looking forward to all that stuff. And let me know in the comments down below, what are you guys looking forward to of the stuff that's been announced? I'm anxious to know what stuff you guys are excited about and what stuff you're maybe not so excited about. And of course, you can head over to the US Gundam Store site. The link is down below. You can save 10% off everything there on the store using my coupon code ZakuRelease10 and shop there. And thank you so much for that. I'll see you guys next week in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.